All right, this is the first play of many on this day. This is the first of 10 touchdowns. And let's see what the Dolphins actually have cooking here. They're in 21 personnel. And the Broncos are in their quintessential pressure 5 look, which looks like cover 6 behind it. Could be quarters, half. And maybe they're going to drop this guy into the zone, or they're going to bring him up into the box. And maybe he's going to take the last half. And then the roll up on the snap is going to be more of a cover 3. But that's not what we're going to work with right here. What are the Dolphins working with? It looked like a sail route when they completed this pass. I thought it was like a sail concept, and it was actually a deep dig mesh. And what they're doing is they're going to just run Tyreek on the over, and Robbie Chosen is going to be right here at the mesh, and they want to meet somewhere around the left hash. Now, how are they going to occupy some of these defenders? Well, this is the tight end on this side of the formation. And if they bring all 5, you have them blocked. You have 6 to block 5. And Durham Smythe has the edge player. So they're fine. So they're just going to do a little hand fighting. Like, it doesn't really matter because Durham Smythe is actually just going to occupy this guy right here. And they're going to have a little play fake right here. And he's going to curl in front of this linebacker. Now, this is the conflict player. Because what they're going to do with this guy is that they're going to bring Ingold across the formation, and that's going to widen him. And theoretically, you want to widen him to get him into conflict. Because if it's cover 4, then this man is going to try to hug this hash. And if you're running this mesh concept, and let's clean this up. If you're running this mesh concept, and you're going to stress this safety, he has a decision to make. He's either going to keep his structural integrity and stay close to this hash as Surtain gets depth, or he has to get deeper as Surtain carries his man to the hash and then bounces back out. So if this is quarters, and let's clean this up a little bit. If this is quarters, you don't run with anybody across the formation. You're going to carry them to a hash, and you're going to let them go, and then you're going to try to keep your integrity. Okay? That's what you got to do. All right? On this side of the formation, it's essentially doesn't really matter. The linebacker has the back out of the backfield. The end, this is one-on-one. So this is all self-explanatory. You do have this run action, and you want this run action because you want to create a little bit of space. Okay, you want to create a little bit of space because you have the mesh point right over here. So you might want to have this lane to throw to or this lane to throw to. Now let's clean this up. And what exactly happens on this play? We're going to run it, and then we're going to stop it. There's the play fake. Now, what has happened here? Why are there 2 guys on this guy? It's obviously, and let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, because as you can see, the linebacker got wide. Linebacker got wide, and so this part of the play actually worked. Okay? So this part of the play actually worked because you widened the linebacker on that side. And then this linebacker has Mostert on his option route, right? So why is this safety driving on this route? He's driving on this route because he saw the action that widened his linebacker and he sees the lane. But he's driving on the wrong guy because it's essentially their coverage. As you can tell by what's going on here, you're going to see Surtain. He's going to carry his man to the hash. But this mesh concept is run so well where you get the safety to drive, and then Tyreek is just going to run right past him. So we're going to clean it up, and we're going to run it. And look at that picture as the ball is leaving to his hands. And of course, you have the guy playing the deep middle. So, does he have the angle? No, he does not. Brilliant execution. And kind of a screw up on that safety's part. Because, you gotta understand, your shape. And we're going to run it one more time. And we're just going to watch it to see how it develops post-snap. And as you can see, here's the mesh concept. Let's stop it. Safety's getting deeper. 32 is going to drive on this because he correctly discerns, okay, they widen my linebackers. Now there's a throwing lane. I should drive on this. He's ignoring who's going to run right past him. Perfect execution. Like, this is really, really cool stuff. High level stuff. Now, there's a really cool goal line run here. And I'm going to draw it up for you. The front is essentially an over front. So that's not too important, but I'm going to show you the design here. They're pulling the tight end to get to contain, and they're pulling the left guard to get into the hole. Now, what are they doing with the rest of this line? Well, this is going to be one-on-one. So they're trusting Robert Hunt to handle this, what it's essentially one shade. He has to handle him one-on-one. Okay? Eichenberg is going to release to try to get the backside pursuit. This is one-on-one. So they're trusting their two best offensive linemen, Teron Armstead and Robert Hunt, to hit their blocks one-on-one. You have the kick out, and then you have the lead with Isaiah Wynn. Now, what are they expecting Austin Jackson to do? Well, there's a newfound, I guess you could call it respect or confidence in Austin Jackson that he could hit some of these unicorn blocks in this Dolphin system or this San Francisco Shanahan system. And believe it or not, they're going to ask him to reach to the second level to cut off the mic. So look at this action, and where is Mostert going to run it? Well, he's running right in through the A-gap. Okay? So look at all the orchestration here that has to happen. Do they pull it off? I don't know. Let's see. Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. They did pull it off. Austin Jackson actually going to hit that reach. Isaiah Wynn's going to get his kick out. And I want you to watch this block right here by Julian Hill. Yes. Or Durham Smythe, I'm sorry. Yes. That's a good block. Austin Jackson hit his reach. Both Robert Hunt and Armstead got their one-on-ones. Isaiah Wynn is leading the way. And Mostert is in the end zone on 4th and goal. Now, what happens when you got a target on your back? Well, this happens. This is Mike White, by the way. This is Robbie Chosen. And all the backups are in at this point of the game. And you got, again, another pressure 5 look, which looks like cover 6 behind. It could be quarters. They could shape into cover 3 once again. It could be man under, although doubtful, because usually in man under, although the ball is in the middle of the hash, you're gonna have to press at least the slot receiver, and they're not pressing. They're off of him. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna pick on him once again. This is 32. Okay? And I understand this is Pat Surtain the third, and he is an all-pro. Let me write that out so you could all know for sure. Now, why am I writing that on there? Well, it's pretty simple. Dolphins know what they know, and they know that Denver knows that they know. So, what does all of that mean? It means something very simple. If you run somebody into, again, that deep dig territory, okay, and this safety right here sees it, he is going to abandon his deeper half with Pat Surtain. Why? Because he's an all-pro. Okay? So, obviously here what Pat Surtain wants to do is he wants to carry his man, but you ideally want to get this rush home eventually. But Dolphins have numbers to block this up. And what they're going to do is they're just going to double move the all-pro. And it's going to be one a little out and up. And it's going to be pitch and catch. Now, was there any other alternative on this play? No, it was a shot play. Like, you could see kind of clearly that they wanted to run a shot play here. This play was called for Mike White, and they're taking advantage of this coverage once again. We're going to run it to see what they have post-snap, and then we'll pause it. Here comes the double move, and as you can see, they are keeping their integrity, and it seems to be some type of half coverage where it's kind of, it's man quarter on one side. There's some type of deep responsibility here. 32 is once again flat-footed, and we're gonna run it a little bit more. As you can see, that they're obviously, by the leverage that they're playing with in their coverage, Pat Surtain has Robbie Chosen one-on-one, and 32 is once again trying to close out this dig route. And protection is awesome. As you can see right here, protection is just perfect. Okay? And they have the little flare, and they have the safety valve. So this is well orchestrated and really well executed. And come to think of it, you even have this little semi wheel or slot wheel or whatever you want to call it. I don't even believe he even came from the slot, but let's bring it back a little bit so we could see this again, because it's kind of awesome how they set this up once again, and they get the same guy to bite. And it's really on the leverage. Like, they're trying to take away that dig route, and they allowed Surtain to play one-on-one on the outside since he's going to carry his man deep. Pass rush had to get there. Just didn't. Good design, and it was essentially pitch and catch. Again, they have their sucker, and they're going to get him to drive on yet another dig route, and then they're just going to run right past him. I guess at this point, when it's 56-13, they're thinking to themselves, they're not going to run a double move on our all-pro corner, are they? Yeah, that's precisely what they're going to do. Why? Because they know your safety's preoccupied with taking away this dig in the deep middle, and he's going to abandon his post, especially to Surtain's side. And he couldn't run with Robbie Chosen. Perfect pocket for Mike White to step up into and deliver that pass over the top for the touchdown. We'll run it one more time. Here's the dig. 32 drives once again. Put it right over Pat Surtain's head. Touchdown. Now, Vic Fangio has some pressure 5 chops of his own. Now, this is a very interesting step because this is obviously match man. Obviously match man. To the point where you see the safety in this set, which is Elijah Campbell. And he's already matching up right down the hash with his man. So this is obviously match man. All of this is match man. But the offensive line has some work to do here. They got to identify a couple of what could be free rushers. Or, as you can see, they're essentially uncovered. So they have some indicators, and this is also from the tackle spots, okay? You always block this down. Always block this down, which means this man comes, you got to pick him up in this gap, and you release the edge rusher. Okay? Same on this side. McGlinchey understands the indicator. He understands he has Manu Agba in front of him. But if this man comes, he has to pick him up and let the edge go through. So you always let the farthest man out go through. And Russell Wilson just has to throw hot. Okay? He just has to throw hot because you do not have the numbers. You only have 5. And you have your back. That could be 6. But if you release him, it's also match man. So there's a good indicator for Russell Wilson here, and there's a bad indicator. The good indicator is that it's very, very likely it's match man. Okay, right down to the leverage that they're playing with. The bad indicator is there's 6 in the box. You have 5 offensive linemen, and you're probably going to release the back. If you have to keep the back in, Russell Wilson has to actually tell him. So if you miss one assignment, you're likely going to allow a free rusher. More likely than not, if they bring 6, there's going to be a free rusher no matter what. If they bring 5, you better pick up the right guy. Because if you don't, you're allowing a quarterback hit. Now, what happens here? Well, Dolphins actually did call a pressure 5. And they're going to run Duke Riley right off of Raekwon Davis. He's going to run right into this gap, which is going to occupy McGlinchey because he's reading that indicator because he essentially has a 2-by-1 rush on him. Okay, let me clean this up and let me explain it. McGlinchey's reading this and this. He has to pick up whoever hits the B gap. Whoever hits this B gap right here is who McGlinchey has to pick up. And he has to allow the widest rusher free. So let's run it and let's see what happens. And then we're going to see it from the end zone view. See, McGlinchey sees him coming, and he's going to try to keep his integrity to keep the B gap. Russell Wilson is just not seeing it develop and is not throwing hot, as Agba is the free rusher, and you have yourself a sack. Russell Wilson had to throw hot. It's common to just blame Mike McGlinchey and say, hey, what are you doing allowing Agba to get a free run at your quarterback? Well, he's correctly reading the indicator of Duke Riley headed for the B gap. He has to pick up the man closest. That's on Russell Wilson. He has to throw hot. And now we're going to see it from this spot, from the end zone. And this is going to make it easier to see. How do you actually run this play? Well, it's pretty simple. Like you want to get on this guards. Remember, we're on the defense, so we know what we're doing. They don't. Okay, so you want to get on the guards' outside shoulder. Okay, because you want to create this conflict. You want to create this 2-by-1 rush on the tackle. Okay, you understand the rules of this concept, and especially since you're on this hash. Now, how do you combat this if you're the offense, if you're Russell Wilson? Well, it's pretty simple. You gotta see their shape. The shape they're in. You know you have an extra blocker in case they come on this side 2-by-1, right? Because at this point, it's not 2-by-1. It's 2-by-2. So you know that if you're moving protection, because you have it right here, if you bring it on this side. If you're going to move protection, you're going to move it to the side where you have your numbers, right? So you're going to move them all this way. You slide your protection this way. And then Agba is the free rusher. And you're essentially going to sprint pass this way, okay? Run it. So you saw what happened. You have the 2x1. Russell Wilson does not move the protection. McGlinchey correctly recognizes the indicator, which is there's a 2x1 rush on my side. So I'm going to pick up the man that's closest in, and there has to be a free rusher. The only thing that Russell Wilson could do there is just throw hot, or he needed to move the protection. He did not move the protection. And the result was a sack on third down. Now, what is something else he could have done? He could have called the back across the formation. But if you call the back across the formation, you're probably creating a lot of conflict and confusion for Garrett Bowles, your left tackle, because now you're creating the 2x1 on your left side, which is the blind side of Russell Wilson. So you kind of like your integrity and your alignment right here, because you know where the free rusher might come from. It's coming from the B gap. So if McGlinchey blocks down, then the free rusher is outside. Russell Wilson has to throw hot. This is on Russell Wilson. We'll just run it one more time so you could see it take shape. Ideally, Brandon Peely, I would have liked him to square up that guard a little bit more. He got a little bit too inside. He got on his inside shoulder. Ideally, you want him either on the right, on his outside shoulder, or you want to square him up. But he does manage to move him, and you can see it again. He manages to move him across, which is good enough. And they correctly blocked Duke Riley, if you saw that. But they allowed the free rusher, and the free rusher got there in Emmanuel Ogbah. Very good design. All right, here's a nice little toss truck play. And this is only made possible by really good blocking from your wide receivers. You don't see Cedric Wilson, but he's out here somewhere. Okay? He's going to come into this play and pick up the linebacker. Okay? He's going to get the seal on the linebacker as Julian Hill is going to get the backside contain as they reach here. This is one-on-one. Reach, and then seal. And then here you want to get on that outside shoulder. And you want to run this play right into this B gap. Okay? You're going to have that toss look, which theoretically might get guys to start pursuing and essentially have them pursue right into their blocks. So let's clean this up and let's run it. And as you can see, they're trusting Austin Jackson to get his man one-on-one on the backside. And if you notice, they're gonna hit this contain also right there, Julian Hill. And not only is Lester Cotton on the correct shoulder and walling his man off, and not only is Isaiah Wynn just completely blowing his guy out of the hole, and not only is Kendall Lamb kicking out his man into almost, 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, but Liam Eichenberg has free work to do. And as you can see, Cedric Wilson actually did pick up the linebacker. And Liam Eichenberg helps out on the seal. This is a great block by Cedric Wilson. And now it's a foot race, and one that the Broncos cannot win. And there's 32 once again. He's chasing the play.